And we are live. What's up? Happy Monday, everyone. We are super stoked to welcome you to tonight's episode of The Living Force. This episode is full of news, booze, and who's. That's right. I made it a three-peat. We got me. We got the doctors. We got your boy Wes. We got a very special guest, and we got a whole bunch of Star Wars coming your way. I know I'm ready. So, Wes, punch it. All right. Welcome, everyone, to The Living Force. I'm your host, Eric Eilerson, and I am joined tonight by a couple of lovely people. First off, we have the doctors, Dr. Corey Helton. Hey, buddy. Oh, doing lovely because your face is here with me. We also have Dr. Charles Hankel. Hey, man.
Hello there. What's going on, y'all? Happy to be here.
Excellent. We also have the man behind the keys, the man making all these beautiful visual transitions happen, Wes Jenkins.
What's up? I'm a band guy. I wear my own shirt.
God, I never get tired of it. But I do get tired of just hanging out with you guys. So we changed it up tonight. We are joined by Laura from Force Toast to Star Wars Happy Hour. Laura, what's up?
Hey, friends. I'm still vibing from the music. I enjoy your tunes.
Oh, thank you so much. We last hung out with you and Alice, your co-host, who unfortunately wasn't able to be here tonight, last year on like episode 16 of the show. We're so happy to have you back, chat about all kinds of things that have happened in the last year for you guys, talk about some general Star Wars stuff. And for all of you chat and all you listening later on, hi. I haven't said hi to you yet. It's not about the host right now. It's about you. It's good to see you. If you are new, you have found Utini. You found The Living Force, one of the most positive Star Wars communities you can ever find. You got to check out utini.com, where you can find reviews, reading guides, and everything you need to dive into and explore the Star Wars expanded universe. Oh, hey, Molly Damon just followed us. Thank you for the Twitch follow. So happy to see you. We have a vibrant online community, everyone. You can join us. You can head over to utini.com/Discord. And we got a Patreon jam-packed with hours of extra content at Patreon. Ooh, we got another follower. Oh, there's so many numbers. No, it's S. Walker Vision 8675309.
No, they were all
like
Star
that.
Wars numbers, though. They had 1138. They had 1977. Yep. There was a rhythm to it.
This is why we have Laura on the freaking show, guys.
I'm here to just catch the details.
Love it. Well, we are so happy to have you. We're happy to have all you here. Again, Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, we are hanging out. So, Laura, before we get into boring updates and crap like that, how has your year been? We haven't talked to you in quite a while. Your year has exploded. The show has gotten huge. You have been traveling for Star Wars trivia. Like, catch us up. How's 2020 been, other than, you know, the pandemic and all the bad things?
Oh, yeah. No, despite all the bad things, the past year has been amazing. If we haven't been on in a year, we must have really blown it the first time we were on your show. So my bad. The retroactive apology. No, the year's been great. In the last year, I've been back and forth from LA a few times with the movie trivia Schmoedown and competing in the Star Wars division. And it has been a whirlwind. In the last year. It's been really fun. And yeah, Force Toast is doing really well. It's been really fun. We're on, I want to say episode 42 will come out next week. Don't quote me on that though. I'm not totally sure. And yeah, the Schmoedown tournament happened all, virtually thanks to the pandemic, but it ended up working out really well for me. Saved me a lot of money on flights to get back and forth from LA. So I had a lot of fun with it, and overall really happy with how it went and how everything's been going. So I can't complain.
Yeah, it's been so awesome this whole year seeing you pop up in those things like the virtual Schmoedown and seeing Force Toast and everyone's names. I mean, it is one of the few things on a Twitter in a world full of things that can divide people. Whenever you see Force Toast being brought up, it's people having a blast, sitting at home in a bathtub with a shower over your head going through depression. But Force Toast goes on and then you're happy for a little bit. So If anyone's watching our show tonight or listening and you're not on that Force Toast bandwagon, stop that.
It's time.
Fix it.
The time is now.
Very excited. Yes. And one other thing I want to ask you about before we go on to some business stuff. You had a new show premiere very recently, did you not?
I did, definitely. Yeah. So on YouTube now, if you want to go find The Jedi Way, that is the new show that I'm doing with John Roca on his YouTube channel. We just released our first episode last week. And for the time being, those are going to be pre-recorded, but eventually we're going to move into a live format, which will be really exciting. But we're kind of, getting warmed up to it and seeing how it goes. And the first episode was so fun. John and I are coming at Star Wars from very different points of view. So in different entry points. So it's been interesting conversation so far. And I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, that first episode was seriously awesome. It helped me get through the last half hour of a really weird work day, but it's really cool if you haven't checked it out yet. Like Laura said, Jedi Way on YouTube. It gets into like some cool, deeper topics about Star Wars. It's not, it's not so much the news and active stuff. It's going through, like you said, you guys are coming at Star Wars from different areas. So how do you see certain concepts in Star Wars from different eras and stuff like that? Freaking awesome. Cannot wait for more. In our Utini world, a couple things we want to go over. We premiered some new stuff last week. Corey, you premiered the first Utini game night last Wednesday. How did it go? Did you have fun?
I did. I had a blast, man. I got to play some KOTOR. We just launched this show. If you guys have not heard about it on our Twitch channel, we're trying to boost lots of live stuff that we do. And once a week, somebody random on the team. We have a huge team at Utini. Somebody new on the team every single week is going to be trying to play something fun, some kind of Star Wars game. And I whipped out some old school KOTOR. It was a ton of fun. Everything didn't catastrophically fail like I expected it to. Unfortunately, I did get a bit of a migraine about halfway through and had to ditch out a little bit earlier than I wanted to and go sleep that off. That wasn't very fun. But I had fun. I had so much fun actually yesterday on my day off. I was post-call yesterday. I whipped out KOTOR 2 and played that for a couple hours. So that was fun too.
Wow. I mean, you played video games on your day off.
I know.
Revolutionary.
I know. And
wow.
Wes is going to be gamer number 2, right, Wes?
That's right.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got a plethora of games on Steam that I was going to run through, but I might pull out some Jedi Outcast. I don't know. Not sure yet.
And God, I remember when they made Star Wars games regularly. That was fun.
Yeah, different age.
But yeah, so if you did catch that, thanks for hanging out at Wednesday nights on Twitch. Gonna be playing some old school Star Wars games. A couple other announcements on this Thursday, I believe our Legends Look Back Patreon show is a Patreon show no more. Those fellows are bringing their show live to Twitch Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, because one of the hosts is in California. And that's going to be a live show. I'm excited. We went from 1 live show to 3 live shows in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, we did 2 weeks.
Odd.
It felt like it's been a
fast.
long time. It feels like it's only been 2 weeks. Yeah, that one's going to be a lot of fun. Jared and Freddie have been killing it with that show, and everything looks good. And we've gotten a lot of talk in our comments and stuff about people saying they couldn't catch our live stream because it's on East Coast time and it's kind of early for the West Coast folks. So maybe this kind of fixes that. We have 2 shows. One is later in the evening, so that'll be great.
Absolutely. So go ahead, check that out if you so choose. And Jared, one of those hosts, is in the Twitch chat right now. Hi, buddy. We love you. No pressure, but it's live now, so it could go very wrong. Other than that, this week on Wednesday, I want to announce we were lucky enough to interview Sarah Kuhn, who wrote the Dr. Aphra Star Wars audio drama a little while ago. And we finally have that interview edited, ready. It will be coming to your podcast streams on Wednesday. So if you're an audio listener, you've already had that in your feed. She's freaking awesome. She's so cool. Our conversation, we had a lot of fun. We had some talk about the courtship of Princess Leia and some other Star Wars books. So definitely eyes up for that. Corey, to round up our updates, can you tell us about a couple new merch things that we have dropping, please?
Yes, we do have a bunch of cool new merch coming out pretty soon. We're shifting our sort of schedule a little bit with merch, and everything is going to be actually become available to patrons a little quicker than the general public. So, Wes, why don't you go ahead and throw those new things up there? Jose has been busy. Oh my gosh, we have some really cool new designs coming out. The first one at the top left is a genius thing that Jose put together. It's fantastic for Mustafar. Fantastic. Dodging those copyrights left and right, guys. And then lastly, I'm sorry.
It literally looks like a Lonely Island North Face sketch.
It does. It
Like-
totally looks like a branded. It looks fantastic. I'm definitely.
We
gonna
could sell
buy
that
this
thing
one.
for $75 if we put it on a fleece. I
That's
swear
right.
to God.
Under that one,
Ridiculous.
we have sort of a retro-looking Utini logo we've been working on for a little bit, and then on the right, we have the 2 new book shirts coming out. You guys know that we do some kind of fancy design in relation to every book that comes out, and this one, the top right there, is for Dr. Afra. Subtle but effective, and then I think below that is the new Thrawn t-shirt. So we have to be very, very careful with Star Wars designs. Obviously, there's lots of trademarks and things that you have to we have to be very cognizant of, and it's forced us to be a little more creative, and I'm super pleased with how both these turned out. And then last, sort of in honor of Legends Look Back, Wes, you can throw that second one up there. Here's the new Legends Look Back logo tee, which looks fantastic. We've totally, completely accepted the 90s look there, and we're really pleased with this one as well.
I can taste like playpen food looking at that picture.
That's
Like it reminds me
disgusting.
of like the Taco Bell lobby. That's exactly what that looks
Yeah.
I
like.
can
There's a
smell
little
the
bit of like
ball pit.
Lisa Frank vibes to it. I like it
Yes.
a lot.
Very
my
wild and
God.
crazy kids.
Yeah. And guys, and another, I know we try to shout out as much as we can to Jose, but man, Jose, who literally just creates all these off the top of his dome, just does such incredible work for this team, dude. You've outdone yourself again. My wallet is angry at you, but beyond that, I'm happy with you. So again, those are live for patrons now. Did you say, Corey?
Yeah, I think
Is
they're
that
all
right?
live for patrons now. Jose can correct me on those types of things, but I think they're all definitely live for patrons right now, and we just have to push the links out to them, and they'll go live for the rest of everybody else in a week or two here. So
Beautiful. Speaking of patrons, a little bit of Patreon news. We got a new patron this week, Elizabeth Cloutier.
Last one.
Cluter. Elizabeth, welcome. Welcome. One of those might have been correct. So happy to have you here, and I hope you stay after this week's show, despite my butchering your name. Charles, last week we started the Patron of the Week feature. Can you tell us who our Patron of the Week that we want to celebrate this week is, please?
Yes.
An
So
old
his-
friend of ours.
Yeah, his name's not Rick. It's Patrick Ortiz. Sorry for the SpongeBob reference. Patrick Ortiz, he has been a friend of ours for a long time now. He wrote us a little bit about himself, so we wanted to give him a shout out on this show. Patrick is coming to us from Colorado Springs, out in Colorado, if you didn't guess that. And he was introduced to Star Wars by his dad. His favorite series is Republic Commando because he loves clone troopers. In terms of upcoming content, he's really looking forward to the Bad Batch series and some more Mandalorian, as are we. Got my Mando merch on, so does Laura. Let's see, his favorite film is Rogue One because it was the first Star Wars film that he saw on opening day in theaters, and he loved the characters and the story it told.
correct answer.
Patrick has seriously been with Utini since like day one. He used to film these awesome unboxing videos back when we did book boxes, and he would post those on our Facebook page and all that stuff, and that was a ton of fun. So Patrick, I'm glad we could give you a few seconds to shout you out, man. Thank you so much for your support. If y'all want to chat with Patrick, you can find him on Steam. He's at PJ Turtle. On Twitter and Origin, he's at PJ Turtle 23, and on Xbox, he's at PJ Turtle 1123.
I love that last one because that tells me that there are 1,122 other J Turtles.
God, how
Like-
many other versions of that new follower are there then with all those numbers?
That's
Oh
right.
my God.
That's right.
Just imagine him sitting there like 3 days later, 1046. Damn it! All right, 1046. Oh, but yeah, Patrick, thanks, dude. We love you, man. We're so happy to have you in this community. And again, every week we're gonna be highlighting another patron. So if you're in that Patreon community, heads up, you should be getting in emails or info from Timothy, our Patreon manager. God, I swear we do less and less with this company every single week. So the emails surprise even me. So Timothy will be in touch with our patrons, and we'll feature you next week. Book releases, y'all. We got books coming up. Not as many as we used to because, oh my God, this has been the year of Star Wars books. It's been awesome here. But coming up, August 25th, which is next week.
Yes.
Yes, next week. We have the Clone Wars, Stories of Light and Dark, August 25th. on September 1st because that shirt, we got Thrawn, Ascendancy, Chaos Rising. We're going to chat about that a little bit later on September 1st. We have From a Certain Point of View, Empire Strikes Back, November 10th. That's right, folks. 2 months between Star Wars book releases. What are you going to do except maybe read every Legends book you haven't read like me? And then next year, we've already announced March 2nd, Alphabet Squadron, Book 3, Victory's Price, which we'll also talk about here in a little bit. I got all those pre-orders up on Utini right now. Check them out. All right, we're going to skip book reviews right now because we want to talk to Laura, damn it. So, Corey, can you show our brilliant viewers a cool ad spot? Then we're going to come back and chat with Laura. All right. Oh, it's so peaceful music. Anyway, we are back now. Main show. When we were first talking to Laura about coming back on the show, we're trying to think about, all right, what's our theme going to be? What are we going to talk about? I just want to hang out with my friend Laura, and I want to talk about Star Wars. So we got a smorgasbord of things we want to chat about. But first, Laura, you mentioned earlier in the show about the Schmoedown, which is you know what? For anyone that doesn't know, what is the Schmoedown generally? You talked about a couple tournaments they're doing virtually. What is that? How'd you get involved? How's it going? Let's do a little recap.
Sure. So the movie trivia Schmoedown is basically movie trivia meets professional wrestling. The idea is that there are characters, there are good guys and bad guys, and where all of the character work is sort of made up, and it's all for the fun of it. The trivia knowledge is very real. And so there is an entire division of the Schmoedown dedicated to Star Wars. And if you haven't seen it before, I highly recommend checking it out. You can find the SEN network on YouTube, and you can find all of the matches from Star Wars. There are other divisions, including the Inner Geekdom, which includes Star Wars, but also includes things like Star Trek and Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, etc. And then there's also a singles division, which is more general movie trivia knowledge, as well as teams, where that's more general trivia knowledge as well, just with two people playing on a team. And it's a ton of fun to watch. It's so much play. I can certainly attest to that. Very nerve-wracking if you're not used to being on a stage, real or virtual. But I got involved when I reached out to Christian Harloff. This was leading up to Star Wars Celebration Chicago. So I heard that there was going to be a Star Wars trivia competition happening that day. And I reached out and asked if he had any open spots for me and my podcast co-host Alice to potentially get in on it. I had seen Star Wars play teams before, but those are way old matches now at this point. So they don't really do that anymore. But I was really hoping that we could both get in on it. He replied and said they only had one spot. And so I talked about it and decided to push me into it. And it has all been a whirlwind since then. So I've played 5 matches total. My 2 most recent were in the tournament that we did this past spring/summer here in 2020 in our new virtual environment, since nobody was able to sort of get together in LA and play those in the studio or play them live. We took the entire thing to Twitch and YouTube, and it worked out so well, and it was so fun, and drew a big crowd. And all of those are available on YouTube now. They're not on Twitch anymore, I don't think, but you can definitely find them on YouTube.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I feel like I've checked into a couple of the matches you've been playing, and it gets freaking intense. Like, especially if there's like rule challenges. Like, I start to sweat watching. Like, and like, have you guys been watching any of these like Schmoedown clips? I think we've thrown them around in Utini once in a while, of like seeing just how intense these guys get about like I'm trying to remember. There was one specifically that made me just lose my mind because it was the pronunciation of the end of a word can like make you lose a question. It's wild.
Yeah, I remember that match. The Star Wars division is really a whole beast in itself, because while the other divisions are much more general movie trivia knowledge, Star Wars and Inner Geekdom really have started to dive into a lot of more intricate details, Star Wars especially, just because you've got an entire like league of players that are so good. Everyone is so good, and everyone really knows their stuff, but this is just a whole nother level. I mean, think any pub trivia you've been to and then turn it up from like a 10 to like a 20. And it's just that much more intense and that much more intricate in the details that you have to know in order to be successful in the league. So it's gotten really intense, but it's made it a lot more challenging and a lot more fun for me as somebody who really enjoys those details and really enjoys learning that stuff. There's always something new for me to learn and a deeper corner for me to dive into. So I've gotten a lot out of it. I've learned a lot. And I've definitely learned a lot about strategy in the game. You can't just come in and know how to answer questions. There's a whole game component that you would need to know how to strategize as well. So it's a much bigger picture than kind of just your average Star Wars trivia.
For sure. On that note, we were actually lucky enough to have Alex Damon, a fellow Schmoedowner, on the show a couple weeks back. And I want to ask you a question. We actually asked him to round out our Schmoedown talk. We asked him what was one of the favorite trivia questions he's ever gotten, like, of all time. And it was like a pub trivia question about how many English words were written in the original trilogy or something like that. Do you have a question that either you've gotten in Schmoedown or like as you've been studying, because I know your study process is super intense, that like is your favorite little tidbit fact that you like, if you were at a and someone asked you, do you like Star Wars? They would like shut them up really quick or feel really good to know. It's something that's just really fun.
Off the top of my head, it's hard to think of one. I enjoy the component of, and this is going to make me sound like such a jerk, but I enjoy challenging. I enjoy any sort of opportunity where, because, it brings a whole new component to the game where somebody tries to tell you you're wrong, but I'm like, no, I know that I'm right though. And so challenging really mixes it up and it just kind of brings a new energy to it for me. So that's always been kind of a fun component for me. It's really interesting talking to some of the other players in other leagues where they're just like, when we're practicing and they're like, oh yeah, no, I wouldn't challenge that. And I'm like, yeah, no, maybe in your league you wouldn't, but in Star Wars, you have to challenge those things. When they come up. I will say that one of my favorite questions I think that came up was the Tidarium question, which is the name of the shuttle that's in Return of the Jedi that Han and Chewie take down to Endor. And I think one of the reasons I love that question is because it was one of those moments when I first met Alice, my co-host on Force Dose, and we were sitting at a bar. It was like one of our first like friend dates, like after we had met. And we were both like talking about Star Wars trivia and kind of talking about, different questions that we'd encountered at past pub trivias. And at one point we both referenced that shuttle and then like together in unison said, oh yeah, the shuttle Tidarium. Like it was just this really kind of cute moment.
That's a Hallmark movie. Tell me it's not. That is straight up.
I love it.
I know, right? Like it was so cute. Yeah. And so that question came up in my first match, which was a 5-way match at Star Wars Celebration Chicago. And I answered it correctly. And I was really pleased with that because, it had obviously come up in conversations before. But it was actually a question. It wasn't the same question, but it was the same answer that had come up in a match this year in the tournament. And that was where it wasn't my match. It was one of some other players where it led to challenge because of pronunciation. And it was a whole thing. But that kind of stuff is what keeps it really exciting and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. And it's so much fun to watch as a player. And you're right. It's incredibly nerve-wracking. I will be sweating watching the matches, which is hysterical because then every once in a while they'll be like, oh, do you want to come on and talk to the winner in the post-match interview? And I'm just like, hold on, just I need to go like change really quick.
Well, and it's funny you bring up the challenges because that's one of the moments like I really remember when I was first listening to the matches because I would like put them on and like go walking around, go to Walgreens or something, and just have them on. And you had a match where they called you out. It was a solo question, and you said refined hyperfuel, and they're like, nope, it's coaxium, and you challenged it immediately, and I was like, ooh, yes, because you were like so no bones about it. Like, oh, it says coaxium. You're like, yeah, it's the same thing. That's the exact same thing. And it's like, oh yes, like, but that's the conversations that we have. That's the thing.
That was, and I will stand by that challenge because that's, the specific line that they were referencing in the movie. That is the line that she says. She says it's refined hyperfuel. And it's like a little. So I stand by that 100%, and I will post the screenshot and I will pin it to my Twitter profile, and so everyone sees it. But no, yeah, it really brings a new level of energy to it, and it's definitely an area where I can, that's the thing about being a Schmoedown competitor is that we're all just in it to like show off. That's a big component, a big draw for us.
That's why we do this show as well. I get it. Yeah.
We're all just show offs, we just want to show off our fun knowledge and have fun with it. And that's where you can really kind of come into your own and just be like, oh, wait, I have something to say. It's ridiculous.
I love it. All right, guys, I'm gonna bring everyone in here and I'm gonna crack a second drink because this week they announced the holiday specials coming, everybody.
That was smooth as hell, man.
Everybody finish your drink.
Every time the holiday special is mentioned, take a shot. All right.
My listeners, people that we like, that we want all the best for. If you don't know, Star Wars once made a holiday special back in the day.
Oh my God, Eric's favorite. He absolutely loves it. It's his absolute
one
favorite.
Of the first fights we ever had at Utini was Corey being like, dude, we should have a live stream of us watching the holiday special. And I was
Eric was like, hell no, absolutely not. We are not doing this. I'm like he was so against it, and like I guess
adamant.
I guess you were afraid that we would just all get way too drunk and then like just crap on it like the entire time, which is pretty much against everything we believe at Utini. So
but that's what happens though. I can attest to that.
it has to. And it was like, I think because it was like our first year, and I'm like, we're trying to like start this brand as like a positive, like not starting any drama. The first live thing we do can't just be yelling at how bad a Star Wars thing is. But
yes,
it is. It's
regardless,
listen, the holiday special is
terrible.
so bad that George Lucas refused to even acknowledge that it existed for like a decade. Like it's on a different level than everything else. Like it's in the trash compactor of like, let's deny that this ever even happened, that it's so bad.
Yeah, and for some reason, the folks at Lucasfilm have decided, you know what, 2020 hasn't really hit us enough, so let's make another holiday special. This is going to be, so let's start with the details of it, y'all. It is a Lego holiday special featuring sequel trilogy characters on November 17th on Disney Plus. Why are we doing this? Why?
Because it's Life Day. We must celebrate Life Day.
Life Day. Oh my God. I cannot believe they did this. This is in my opinion the biggest shock since Disney has purchased Star Wars. Like,
I agree.
I cannot believe that they did this. Like I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and it's hilarious, but like, man, that is ballsy. Is it not?
But if it was going to be anybody, it was going to be Lego.
Yes, and that's how I can totally get behind it too. Is that it's Lego, and that what was that? The Freemaker Adventure? Is that what that was called? Have you guys seen that?
Freemaker Adventures.
That was pretty fun. And it was super fun. It's like barely Star Wars. It was super fun though. Like my wife watched it.
But I want to ask you guys then, on that note, because it is Lego, and Lego has been awesome, I think, as far as balancing humor and content for years. I mean, there's Lego Marvel, Harry Potter, Star Wars, like the Lego Star Wars games in and of themselves are great games, and they're fun. They poke fun at the universe enough. Like, how much fun do you think they're gonna poke at the holiday special? I mean, are we gonna have Lego Chewie's dad in a VR porn helmet? I'm like, how far are we going?
I hope there's a large chunk of it in Treewook. I really do.
Just
with
Lego
no translation, no translation at all. Just
that's gonna be a joke of it though. Is like
you need to honor what came before.
Yes.
Right.
It needs to open with them in those red robes. Everyone just in the red cult robes.
and I think what's going to be the best part of it is that we're all going to watch it November 17th. Again, it's new Star Wars content regardless. So I'm going to watch it November 17th, but some poor parent is going to see new Lego Disney something and is going to throw it on for their kid that they're homeschooling for the third month in a row. And if it's all Life Day jokes, like, I can't imagine what they're going to think.
Do you think it'll be tasteful, or you think it's just going to be a kind of a joke? Like, you think it's going to actually like have a story to it and deviate from the original, and like
it'll have a moral, I think.
Do they get the surviving members of Jefferson Starship to play a song for us?
I mean, Disney has the money, right?
They probably own them.
Disney had their first quarterly loss in like 20 years this quarter, guys. Did you guys
Yeah.
see that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and all it took was the death of 150,000 people and
Yeah,
the
that's
total
all.
destruction of an economy.
That's it.
So
And they finally
basically,
got
they're putting all of their money into a holiday special. That's how this is gonna go.
I hope that it has
man.
the budget of a Star Wars film. Like, what is that? What if it's like shot impeccably well? Like, it's just the most intricate. Like, and maybe the voice acting is really excellent. Like, it's emotional, and they really just go there. You're like,
And
guys,
Luke's hair's way too blonde. Like, why is his hair way too blonde?
I would freaking love it. Anyway, I am November 17th. Set your calendars. I mean, we'll watch it. I'm very excited for
Star
it.
Wars,
I
I'll
am
watch
very
it. It's kinda how
surprised.
it is,
I'm not saying that you have to be under the influence of anything to enjoy it. I'm just saying it wouldn't hurt.
It
Yeah,
it
you know
only
what?
Help.
If you're actually celebrating Life Day, then you owe it to Chewy, to Lumpy,
Lumpy.
To
Dear
the
God.
Lumpa Waru.
Those holographic pole dancers from Cirque du Soleil that are on the table.
Like, you know what? The holiday special proves to me that there is a thing as too much cocaine. You can hit a limit where it is excessive, and I think no longer creative.
Oh God.
Okay. Now looking in the chat here, we have a couple thoughts about this. Looking in here, let's see. We got Emma saying Lego's gonna save holiday specials and give me Lego Lumpy. Completely agree. We got Flicky Dave saying, "Oh my gosh, the song of we celebrate our day of peace, our day of harmony."
Oh my gosh.
Kudos to you for knowing the Life Day song.
Damn.
And Resludub saying Lumpy is the best. I completely agree. Except if I was telling the truth. But you know what, guys? Another great surprise of this past week, Star Wars wise, was the announcement of the third Alphabet Squadron book. Now, we mentioned this earlier in the show. To go from complete quality overhaul, the third Alphabet Squadron book got announced, and it's coming in March. And we have a cover, we have a title, and y'all, who's on the cover? But my pride and joy,
It's your
love of my
boy.
life, Will
Your
Lark.
boy Will Lark.
Victory's Price,
He
man.
looks
How did that
older.
hit you guys?
He
What do you
looks
think?
older too, man. Right? Like he looks like
The
he's
beard.
Yeah.
he's got a beard going. It looks pretty rad.
Oh, he had. Laura and I talked on Twitter already about his beard. Like, can we talk about like Zaddy Will Lark now? He went from like young impressionable boy to like I'm gonna grow a really nicely combed, like taken care of beard in the middle of a war zone. By the way, Will. So just come on, man. But he looks great. He looks old.
This is like the perfect parallel of Corey growing a beard because people thought he was too young to deliver their babies.
That is absolutely true.
This is Will Lark.
I made that joke literally 2 days ago. The guy was like, "Are you old enough to be a doctor?" I'm like, "Don't." I know, ridiculous. We're not gonna.
Anyway,
we're not gonna go there.
but yeah, so the third book we finally have a title, Victory's Price, right? Which was a thing in the first book, or the first like kind of media campaign. We heard victory always has a price, right? That was like a thing about it. Can we take any info from this title, from this cover? Like, is there
Yes.
anything to it? Go for it, Charles. What do you think?
Will Lark is going to die. I've been saying
Oh
this
my
since
God.
day
Jesus!
one.
You guys, I said
I'm
it day
being
one
real.
too. I said
Thank
I
you.
made this prediction. I was like,
Thank
this
you.
poor Will kid is not going to survive this
He's
series.
too nice. He's
Will,
too nice. You
our
can't
boy.
survive war when you're that nice. He doesn't even want to shoot his enemies, guys. That's not a good start for winning
Oh my
a war.
God.
His enemies. Like, I feel like once you name something, it is harder to kill it. I don't know what that means. I don't want to go too deep into that because I'm not really in the practice of killing a lot of things. But like, that is a point.
Just the
Like,
past,
do the
right?
innocent truly? Yeah, the past dies. So if Will dies, do you think he's the only one that will die? Huh. Sorry, that was dumb.
Okay, I have to say, because I haven't read the second book, is that I just know from the first one is that Chaz definitely had a death wish. So
Yep.
I'm not sure where she's at in book 2, but if she's anything like book 1, I'm a little bit worried for her chances too.
Well, Laura, we have a great two-part roundtable if you're interested, all about that second book. And spoiler alert, sorry, Will lives in the second one, but so
I
he can
figured
die
since he's
in
on the
third
cover
one.
of book 3.
In
what a flex
memoriam.
that would be
In memoriam.
if like they put him on the cover if he died in book 2. They're like, yeah, remember this guy you loved? Look at him every time you grab the book. Just feel that pain. It's like putting Cedric Diggory on the copy of Half-Blood Prince.
Oh my god.
Yeah, too bad, right?
That would have been a flex.
My
Would've been
boy.
Thank you. Yeah, good pull. Charlie's in the middle of reading the Harry Potter books right now, so I got a lot of Harry Potter on the brain right now.
Oh man, fantastic.
I know we can't mention other fandoms in here, but yeah, so I'm very excited for that. But even before that, y'all, if our viewers in the live stream will see, I have my little setup here, as I always like to have next to my chair. I brought up my Thrawn books. I brought up my Thrawn Funko because we got Thrawn Ascendancy coming in 2 weeks. Yeah, let's talk some Thrawn. We don't talk about Thrawn a ton on this show, just purely because Treason came out before we started doing the big roundtables. Is that right? Did we do a roundtable on Treason? This is episode 73. I don't know, but anyway, I'm gonna. You know what? I think I'm right, so I'm gonna plow ahead. I'm a man in America. That's what we do. So, how are we feeling about Thrawn going into this? I have read an advanced copy. In all honesty, I've read it. I'm gonna not say anything about it on the show. But for you guys, the rest of this crew here, Laura, Charles, Corey, and Wes, if you like, where are you coming at this trilogy from as far as Thrawn goes?
I mean, I can jump right in there. So I absolutely loved the first Thrawn book. You guys have heard me say this a bunch of times. I put the first canon Thrawn book. It's called Thrawn. I put that in my top 5 canon books. I absolutely loved that book. It was really, really good. I didn't love the next 2 in the trilogy, which is loosely a trilogy. I don't think it was ever actually planned to be a trilogy, but it's kind of a trilogy. So I'm looking forward to this. I feel like we've talked about this before on the show. We all sort of felt like Thrawn's hands were tied by the Rebels TV show in a lot of ways. Like it sort of backed him into a corner. Because
you mean Zahn's
did the
hands,
thing.
right?
You
Did
did
I
the
say?
thing.
I said
You
Thrawn.
said
Timothy
Thrawn.
Oh, damn it.
I mean,
Timothy
if it
Thrawn.
helps, he was literally tied by the Rebels TV show with like the tentacles of whale
I
squids.
think that's true.
So,
kind of.
sure,
I mean, his ship was.
ish.
But yeah. So, I mean, like Zahn, I do that a lot. That's true. Zahn was sort of backed into a corner by the TV show because the story had to bend around the show in a lot of ways. So this feels like Zahn, almost did it again, is going to be in his element. Like, he's going to get to create all the original stuff. It's all about the chiss. Like, I'm excited.
Totally. Now, Laura, we talked a little bit off camera about this. You and Alice have actually been talking about Thrawn a decent amount on Force Toast lately as well in your kind of anticipation for this. And you guys actually, at least you, rather like the second 2 Thrawn books, so you can put Corey in his place.
No, I'm not here to tell anyone what they should or shouldn't like. To each their own. As I said, I did not
All
read
right.
book 2 of Alphabet Squadron. I did not read it for a reason. But when it comes to Thrawn, I really, really love the new Thrawn, the canon trilogy. And I know a lot of people had a hard time getting through the second book, and I totally understand why. But the second book, for me, served a very specific purpose, where it actually gave me some second thoughts on my feelings about Padme Amidala as a character. She's a character I've never really cared for in Star Wars, like really in any form. She just isn't for me. I just, when it comes to like having like a strong female lead in Star Wars, like I just don't think of her at all. And I know that she's got her ups and she's got her downs, and we can all sit and argue about it, but for me, Thrawn Alliances was the first time that I ever really gave Padme any credit and really considered her for what she really is and what she brought to the story. And for me, it's the most like badass version of Padme that we get at any point in the canon. So it brought something for me, the second one. Now, my other thing about the Thrawn trilogy is that I really enjoy listening to it in audiobook form. I think I read the first one, and then the second one I was kind of jumping back and forth between reading and listening to it. And by the third one, I was just like all in on the audiobooks because Mark Thompson is the narrator of them, and he is so good as all of these characters, and Thrawn in particular. He really adheres to what what's his name, Lars Mikkelsen, established in Rebels. And I absolutely, I mean, and I've talked about this on my show. Rebels is my Star Wars. It's my favorite Star Wars. And so when it comes to kind of sticking with that, the fact that he really adhered to that was a big deal for me. And so it was really nice getting to hear that consistency in the character. So the Thrawn trilogy really did a lot for me. I really enjoyed the tie-in to Rebels in the first book. And then the second book, it was also sort of the first time I really considered how Vader and Anakin are really the same person. Like, I guess, I always understood that they are, but I never really gave it that much deep thought until I read the second Thrawn book, where they really are bouncing back and forth between the two characters, but how they're still the same character and how Anakin's really trapped in there. And it really kind of brought that all back around for me in a way that I really appreciated. And that opened my eyes to like see that character in a new way. So I think the Thrawn trilogy did a lot for me as a fan, as a Star Wars fan. I've never read the Legends trilogy. I likely never will. But I really enjoyed the new trilogy, and I'm really looking forward to this. We talked about the excerpts that have been released on Chaos Rising, and I highly recommend that anybody who's interested in reading the new Thrawn trilogy, who's interested in reading Chaos Rising when it comes out, read those excerpts, because for me, like getting back into like Zahn's head and getting back into like his writing style takes a little bit of time, and those excerpts have been really valuable for me in kind of getting back in the groove of like, oh yeah, now we're back in the details, we're really back in it, and we're in a new time period, and there are new characters that you're not familiar with, and so it's a really nice sort of intro to kind of get back into it.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't agree more. And speaking of Mark Thompson, who's doing such a great job with the audiobooks, there are usually, I believe in all the excerpts, there's audio clips at the bottom if you don't want to read. If you do want to listen to the audio performance by Mark, who really just annoys me because he's also the nicest guy in the world and crazy talented. Like, if he were just a total jerk, maybe it'd be a little easier, but he's one of the nicest guys ever. And you're right, his Thrawn is amazing. I'm so excited to hear him go through all these different Chiss characters, because there are so many Chiss that they're gonna that Zahn has created. Like, I think Tom from Del Rey said there's over 4,000 apostrophes in the book because of all the crazy names.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I do love that they counted all of them for fun. So yeah,
Control F. Bro.
Totally agree.
Control F.
Yeah.
No, they really highlighted them individually.
That's right.
So there's gotta be an intern, right? They're just like, God, I hate this. Why did I do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Mark's work and all that has been great, but you're totally right about Zahn, because lately, I mean, Alpha Squadron and Shadowfall are thick books. Absolutely, we talked about those on our round tables. But books like Poe Dameron and Freefall, like Queen's Peril, they're pretty quick, and they're very character based. Oh hey, John Dutch Vander, thanks for the follow, man. They're very character based. Yeah, I love that. But they're a little quicker to get through, and Zahn does have that moment of like, here's the scene, and here's the character. Here's like right. It is a little bit like drinking a red wine. Like, okay, I can't just pound this like I'm used to.
It's interesting you brought up the original trilogy, like Heir to the Empire and Dark Force Rising and whatever. It's like The Last Command. It took me a second there. It's heavy, man. Like, it's the way that like he writes is such like 90s legend Star Wars in your head. Like, it's heavy hitting. You're right, it totally takes some getting used to. Like, I also really like that you brought up the whole medium thing, because you talked about being like you're into audiobooks now, and like we say that all the time on the show. If you didn't love something, you should try it in a different medium. Like, it's shocking how it will totally change your perspective. And I've actually not listened to the Thrawn books in audiobook format, and Mark Thompson is like one of my favorite people, so I need to go back and do that. Honestly, will probably change my perspective. It never has not changed my perspective when I've gone back to listen to something that I read. Like,
I think it's really easy to not get so bogged down in the details when you're listening to the audiobook. Yes. Because one of the things I really love about Zahn's writing is that he does lay some like red herrings every now and then, and you can really easily get bogged down in details and start overthinking it and start going down a sort of other path, kind of predicting where things are going to go. And I think the audiobook makes it a lot easier to kind of let some of that stuff slide and just sit and enjoy the story for what it is.
That's a great way to put it. And we've said 1,000 times that the Star Wars audiobooks are like their own production now. Like, they're sound effects.
they're
and the
freaking
music
movies.
And like,
Yeah.
didn't Alphabet Squadron have like not a whole bunch of non-Star Wars music in it that was produced exclusively for the book? That was crazy. Like a lot of cool
Yeah.
stuff. And you know, shameless plug here. If you've never listened to an audiobook, you can go to utini.com/audible and get a free one. Like if you start an Audible trial through our website or whatever, you get a free audiobook and listen to your first one. So maybe it's Thrawn.
And if you don't want to, there you go. Get your free trial, get your Thrawn audiobook, and then you can cancel immediately. It costs you nothing. We don't care. Like, that's fine. We know how the system works. But Charles, I want to ask you a question, man. So because Laura mentioned that Rebels that's your Star Wars, and you love that Thrawn version. I also love the Rebels version of Thrawn, probably the best. And Corey, I know you love the first Thrawn book, like Thrawn, that particular guy.
Which is
Charles,
always really hard to talk about, by the way, because you're like, you know, the first of the canon Thrawn trilogy, not the Legends Thrawn trilogy, but the canon Thrawn trilogy. You know, the trilogy that's not actually a trilogy. Also, the first book is called Thrawn. Like,
yeah, you know, the Thrawn book.
There are a lot of prerequisites to that conversation.
Exactly.
I love Star Wars, guys. We're so much fun. But Charles, I want to ask you, one, what's fun for you is like your Thrawn, and also why do you think that there's so much hype for this book? Let's be honest. Like in the Star Wars community, I think basically right now it goes High Republic and then like a new Thrawn book are like the biggest hype things. This is a character that was created in the 90s in books, and he's still super hyped. Like, why is Thrawn still such a big deal when we've had like literally thousands of characters created since he came around?
I mean, I think it comes down to how unique of a villain Thrawn is, if you even call him a villain, because it's debatable at times. He is someone who had no force powers, right? He's like the polar opposite of like the Emperor, who at the time of when the Heir to the Empire series came out, or at least that first book came out, that's really all we knew was the Emperor and Darth Vader as the big bads. And he somehow kind of filled his shoes. Like people back in the 90s, like they considered Heir to the Empire to be their episode 7, right? And you know, that's how I think he made the jump, because he had such a big impact to canon. And now I think he's still just a big deal because, one, he has like that lore behind him. He's someone that kind of unites the fandom in that way, because we have people who do exclusively love Legends and those who are exclusively involved in canon. And it's a character that can bring those people together, especially when you also throw him into Rebels. But, you know, he's a character that translates really well into the written format, because he's such a genius. And to get a glimpse into his mind and to see how he thinks about stuff is just like exhilarating. Like that's the character you want to be inside of his head. He's incredible. And so I think that this new trilogy is kind of like Corey said, it's like a new start even for his character, because anything could happen. We know nothing about the Chiss ascendancy, and we know that Zahn has thought all of that through. You know, even stuff that won't make it into these books.
Probably for fun, honestly. Like that's what he does for fun, I assume. Totally. He just fill out notebooks full of lore.
Yeah, like scribbled on napkins that are like tacked up to his wall in his bedroom that he didn't leave for 4 weeks. It's gotta be. That's conjecture. I don't know that, but I can only assume.
It's fine.
But yeah, no, that's why. I mean, Thrawn's amazing, and he really does unite the fandom, I think.
I love that, and I think that, you know, we're always looking for things that do unite the fandom, and I think to kind of round Thrawn out, he's also, like you said, he's super intelligent and he's super competent. Like we talk a lot on this show about how much we love competent protagonists. Like if you're good at something, it's fun to read about. Now, on occasion, for me personally, Thrawn gets a little too good at literally everything. But anytime we can see little flaws in a like kind of a quote unquote perfect tactician or person, it's a lot of fun. So without going any deeper, at least on my end, Thrawn, Ascendancy, Chaos Rising, September 1st. Again, it's the start of a new trilogy. This is officially a trilogy, not a, well, I guess we can write 2 more books because we want money or whatever it may be. This is officially going to be 3 books, and I can tell you from reading it, you can tell. Last thing I want to talk about book-wise with all y'all before we do a little game, because I love games. We haven't done a fun little game in forever. I know, Corey, you miss our games. You love games.
Yeah.
So anyway, we were supposed to, guys, at this point, we would have been about 2 weeks or so away from the launch of the High Republic at this point in the year, before COVID happened, before all the publishing dates got pushed. And it had me thinking, like, you have to wait till January, but could the High Republic possibly start 2021 on like a super good note? Because 2020, let's be honest, can go burn and die in a fire. So we can leave that behind. Is it possible the High Republic can really launch us in January? Like a first week of January launch is kind of weird because it's that post New Year's vibe. Nothing usually big comes around that point. What do you guys think about starting off the new year with the first new giant publishing era in our lifetime?
We don't have film this year, so that's going to be interesting, I think.
That's true.
No,
Corey, we have the Lego Holiday Special. So we have a film level event.
Yeah.
Can you remind me, is The Light of the Jedi the first High Republic novel that'll come out? Or is the
that's
Justine?
the first one.
Okay. Got it.
I think it goes that. Actually, Justine Ireland, you're right. Justine Ireland's Test of Courage might come out the same day, actually.
Does it?
If I remember correctly.
I can't remember.
Check utini.com.
Check utini.com.
Yeah, I don't know. Who goes on that site? But yeah, so they're launching, at least the Charles Soule novel is at least going to be first day. Justina Ireland's Middle Grade might also be in that era. I know, and then Claudia Gray's comes out either the end of January, beginning of February.
Light of the Jedi.
But, like, it's all right in that era.
First, actually.
What's first?
Light of the Jedi is January 5th, and Into the Dark is the young adult novel is February 2nd.
Great.
And Test of Courage is January 5th. Okay, wait, yeah,
Great.
You're right. All right, so
Yeah.
Light of the
two
Jedi
books,
by
January
Charles
5th.
Soule, Test of Courage, Justina Ireland, both of those were January 5th. Yes.
Well, now we got that out of the way. What do we?
So
What do you guys
they keep
think?
changing the dates on us too. So.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they changed them because I'm already like way behind on
Oh
all
my
of my advanced reader
Preach.
copies. I'm like, there are 3 of them sitting in my like queue right now that I haven't had time to read, and I'm like,
Exactly.
I don't understand how I would have gotten through it. So I'm kind of relieved. But I think starting off with Soul is going to be a real high note for the High
Mhm.
Republic. I'm so excited to see what a novel by Charles Soule is like. He's so amazing as a writer in the comics. This is going to be such a treat. I'm so pumped.
All of us are super stoked for Soul. Like his work in the comics has been incredible, and the guy is so cool on Twitter too. Like he's so approachable, and he just knows everything. It's really impressive. So
Yeah, and I'm really excited that they're starting with a full book to begin it too. Like, I mean, they could like ease us in with either like a comic series might be more accessible for some people, or like some shorter story formats maybe to kind of get our feet wet. They're like, nope, full novel, brand new characters, deal with it.
right.
And like, I kind of love that audacity because they're kind of
Right.
gambling a lot.
I
on
think
this
it has to feel huge. I think if they want it to be successful, it needs to feel like a big, huge project, and I think it will. I mean, Luminous was like they acted like that was such a huge multi-author project for so long. Like it's gonna be a large, like, collaborative thing between a whole bunch of people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
as long as it feels large, I think it will be incredibly successful. Like if it just feels like a series of novels, kind of like the Journey series, right? You know, like the Journey to the Last Jedi. If it feels like that, then maybe it won't be as successful. But if it feels like, wow, we're in a new Star Wars era, like we're there. Like if it feels like that, and it's very clearly delineated, then I think it will be really successful.
Yeah, which actually leads me to something in the chat. Emma actually just put in there, and I want to throw your way, Laura, connected to that. She mentioned they released them on the same day. The Justina Ireland and Charles Soule, like you said, both January 5th. Do you think they're going to be connected storyline wise, or is it just a publishing, coincidence that they're getting the adults and the kids the same day?
That's a good question. I would guess that they'll be connected, to be honest, but it's hard to say. I missed the Justina Ireland excerpt that came out, so I feel like if I had read that and maybe gotten some more detail, I maybe would have a better answer for it. But I would definitely encourage people to check it out.
Yeah, they did put up an excerpt on StarWars.com this past week, and it was really fun. We got an ancestor of Sonostaros is in there. And we got our new Jedi, and it's fun because it's definitely Justina Ireland writes really great kind of between middle grade and young adult novels. I like to put them. I mean, they're
right.
I put them a little more.
A Test of Courage is not quite young adult, right? We have it currently
Yeah,
classified as that on the site, but it's actually that sort of weird level that's underneath young adult. That's like middle grade novels, really.
Yeah, it's not like a kid's, but yeah, so it's in that weird middle. Like it's still really great stories. So I'm excited for that. Like probably a little bit of levity we have in that book. Those books usually have a nice moral to them, but they're fun, and the I mean, let's be honest. Emotional devastation likely coming from the Charles Soule book if those Vader comics are any indication.
We're gonna need to pick me up after reading that.
Yeah, maybe I'll bounce back and forth between them, like do a chapter of each, and then at the end, maybe they'll come together. It'd be great. But I'm really, I don't know. It's weird. We are on the precipice of something so brand new, and as Star Wars podcasters and Star Wars fans, I mean, Laura, for a Star Wars trivia person, like this is going to bring up so many new things that everyone's going to be talking about. And it's kind of like, when Game of Thrones was live and Mandalorian was live, or when Breaking Bad is live, like so few things are important day of anymore. And I feel like this is going to be one of those things. Like this book comes out January 5th and that Twitter is going to be talking about a book. And that's kind of wild.
I think at this point that people are going to be very ready for just something new too. They're going to be ready for 21, the hellscape that it is to be over, and they're just going to want to just start new and start fresh. And I think Charles Soule's going to be a great way to do that.
Agreed.
Absolutely. I'm going to be, and then hey, it takes people a couple weeks, and you can finish your copy of Light of the Jedi on the day of the Biden inauguration. All right, so moving forward, we did say, I said it. I'm drinking White Claws. I said it. So we do have a game I want to play. Last time Laura was on the show with Alice, we did play a game because, as we said many times throughout the show is called Force Toast, a Star Wars happy hour. And we talked last time about fictional characters and what kind of, or about books rather, and what kind of drinks they would be. Like if Lost Stars was a cocktail, what do you drink with it? And that got to be a lot of fun. And Charles, you, my friend, I want to give you credit where credit's due, actually came up with a game that we're going to play right now. Do you want to introduce it? Because it came from your brain.
Yeah, sure. Well, it has no fun name, but essentially this time around, what we want to do is each pick one author and then one in-universe character that you would want to go and get a drink with, maybe at happy hour, and what drink you would order for you both, and what's the main thing you'd want to talk about.
All right. So, and correct me if I'm wrong then. For the parameters of this game, it's two scenarios. One's with an author and one's with a character.
That's the thought process. But if you think that they would pair really well together, then by all means,
if you want to do a Thronzon meetup, you're saying.
Far be it for me to break up a party.
All right. Well, Laura, as our distinguished guest, would you care to go first in either one of these crazy imaginary scenarios?
I would love to, because I don't want anyone to take mine. So I'm going to go first. Alice and I played this game a little bit one time with the movies where we talked about cocktail pairings that you would do, or drink pairings, I guess, just with the actual films. And that was a lot of fun. So I love this premise overall. I think when it comes to authors, and I haven't put a lot of deep thought into this, so this is just kind of like off the top of my head, I would love to get a drink with Delilah Dawson. She's just she just strikes me as like being like the coolest chick ever. Like just her whole vibe on Twitter, and then like the fact that like what's her name? Vi Murata like came out of her head. I'm just like, I'm fully here for it. And so I'm kind of thinking like Delilah Dawson seems a little bit like kind of a hard ass chick, and I bet that she can shoot whiskey. So I bet that it's just whiskey shots like up and down the bar. That's what I'm guessing. It's either that or she probably doesn't drink at all, but it's one of those two. She's either all about like the whiskey shots or just nothing at all.
I want to think now that like in my mind, that's how she got like the second book. She's like wrote Phasma, and then she took like Tom out from Del Rey and like put a bunch of whiskey shots and said, all right, let's go. I got an idea about Black Spire.
She's like, if I can do all of these, then I get to write Black Spire. And he's just like, okay.
Oh my God, please. That's the publishing world TV miniseries I want to see.
Exactly.
All right. Corey, Charles, any of y'all got an idea? Apparently, I never thought about this, but yeah, once the author's gone, drop the table.
Yeah. Well, then I got to go ahead and lay a claim then, because I've said this on the show many times. George Mann.
God damn it.
Totally.
Yep.
This is not even like a hypothetical. Like next time Celebration happens, George Mann, we're getting a beer. Like that is happening. He is the coolest dude. He is the nicest dude. And yeah, I mean, we've had him on the show twice. He's one of the few people we've had on the show twice. Laura, you've now joined those ranks. So you know that he's good people. And yeah, that's 100% who I would choose.
So just a regular, nice, calming, chill beer.
Yeah, just like I don't know, just any, probably a Guinness, right? Is that appropriate?
Is that because he's from the UK? Just assume he drinks
No.
Guinness.
Definitely not.
Absolutely not. I don't know why you even said that, but
Deep complexity. You have to let it sit and
Thank
sit in
you.
its own
There
stuff
it
for
is.
a while.
Thank you.
Then you top it off.
See?
Then you start. There's a pattern there. I dig it.
Cora
yeah.
and I understand each other. I don't even have to say it. She just
Wow, no, I saw that shovel she threw to you down in that hole. I saw how that happened. All right, Corey, what do you think? Who are you going with?
You guys know how much I like James Luceno's writing, and I really enjoy how into like villains he is. Like my favorite books that he's written are all about the villains. Like Tarkin was fantastic. Like Darth Plagueis was fantastic. Like he's gotta have a connection with his evil, like his inner evil, right? Like in order to like get in the head of all of the villains. I would love to pick his brain about that.
Because he's like you. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
With the inner evil.
Inner evil. That's right. Absolutely.
All right, what are you having?
Oh man, God, I think that somebody like who writes characters like Tarkin and Galen Erso and Catalyst and Darth Plagueis is like a really deep wine kind of guy. Like,
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that. I was
There
gonna
it
be like, "Can
is.
I guess?" I bet
Yes.
you're about to say red wine.
yes, he's a
Merlot.
fine wine. Absolutely, I would love to
Oh, I love it.
hit it up and just like chill out with him and pick his brain. Like absolutely over red wine for sure.
All right,
That
that's
fireplace.
That's pretty
There needs to be
great.
a fireplace in the room.
Weird.
All right, I'm down
Candlelight
with that.
dinner.
I also
I'll take my shirt
go
off at some point.
Go further.
all right.
Further.
You're going way beyond the boundaries of this game.
We're setting the boundaries for this game. I do want to say real quick, our buddy Frank Sullivan's in the chat. I made a critical error. Guinness is Irish. So George Mann is not Irish.
That's
I'm
a good
sorry,
point.
See, Eric, that's not what I was saying.
Frank is gonna hand
right,
in
you're
his letter of resignation tomorrow, like officially.
You're so right. All right, I am gonna put up Daniel Jose Older. Seems like he'd be so much fun.
Oh, that's a good one too.
to go drinking with. Every time I see him on a Zoom call, like some of his friends I've seen have been like tweeting him, like he's very expressive with his hands, and I feel like we just get into like really fun, like gesticulating conversations, and like I feel like we're either, I don't know, like getting like nice breezy drinks, or like maybe like margaritas, or like something that's like really fun and zazzy. So I feel like that'd
I can
be.
tell you how that would go, Eric. It would be you and Jose Older would be in the bar with a huge group of people, and everybody's kind of hanging out and talking to each other, but only you two are talking.
Yes.
like you're
Like,
just
I'm like, yeah,
basically
yeah,
really
but then, yeah.
intoxicated, yelling at each other, and there's no room for anybody else in the conversation. That's exactly how that would go.
There's like margaritas splashing all over the
That's
place.
right.
They're just like all over the chips and salsa. You're like, I don't need that.
That's
Just
right.
splashing it everywhere.
Exactly. At some point, Eric
Daniel.
gets on top of the bar, like yeah.
And I do the whole, was it? And you wanted me to do that speech from Black Spire? Isn't that the thing we want me to do
Oh,
at
yeah.
Celebration? Celebration 2022. Daniel, let's do it.
That's right.
George Mann will have a nice quiet drink, and then we'll go partying with Daniel Jose Older. I love it. Laura, we'll come back around to you then. A character now. Who are you taking out, and what are they getting?
Okay, I'm going out with Kanan Jarrus from Star Wars Rebels, but not
Oh.
like Star Wars Rebels era Kanan Jarrus. I want like pre A New Dawn Kanan Jarrus, where he's like a wild man. And he's
The
like
trashy drunk Kanan Jarrus?
yes, where he's like getting drunk in the bar every night, and he's like he's hopping behind the bar to bartend, and he's just drinking like pure jet fuel out of the tap because that's like what's cheapest and that's what's available on whatever planet
Yes.
he's on. Like I am here for like young partying in his like younger days, Kanan Jarrus.
That's
Like let's
fantastic.
just do it.
Damn, that's good.
That's
Yep.
fantastic.
All right. Let's keep the order going. Charles, who you got?
All right, let's be clear. There are so many good answers to this question. You know, my initial thought, which I imagine most of you had, was Irish car bombs with Greedo. But I decided to pass on that. I would have to get a whiskey with none other than Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's
yes,
my
sir.
hero. I mean,
Absolutely.
and what do we even talk about? We might just sit in silence and just nod knowingly, you know? I think
Oh,
that's
I'm not
probably
getting a
what would
drink with
happen.
Kanan to talk to him. I'll be honest about that.
Oh my
Fair enough.
God.
Well, hey, and hey, on that note, Charles, are you getting a drink with Ewan McGregor episode 2, 3? Are you getting Alec Guinness episode 4? Because
Hey,
the night
man.
can go different ways depending on which Obi-Wan you're with.
You're right. If we're like Ep 2 Obi-Wan in those weird scenes where he's wearing a wig and had a glue-on beard because there were reshoots, that could get pretty funky pretty quick.
Oh my God,
No,
get
I
him
would-
drunk enough just to take off his wig and throw it. That'd be amazing.
I would 100% choose episode 3. I mean,
Oh, fantastic.
that is my Obi-Wan.
Is Obi-Wan the only character to actually order a drink in a Star Wars film?
No, Luke tugs on the bartender's sleeve and it's like, hey,
And throws a finger.
Give me some water.
Yeah. Hey, you got any of that water I've been hearing about? None of that weak shit. You got any hard water?
That's funny. That's funny.
All
I'll
right,
answer
Corey?
for Alice since she's not here. She will
Yes.
take Attack of the Clones, Obi-Wan, and they're just going to drink Coors Light.
Oh my God.
love it.
Yes.
I love
Are they
her,
gonna-
but she's garbage.
No, would it be in the bar from Attack of the Clones? that where they're
No, it
going?
would probably be like in paper bags sitting outside. Like I don't think that they're
On the
in the
stoop.
bar. That's too
On the
classy.
stoop.
The Death Sticks guy is like there somewhere. Like
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah, he brings a
Pagano.
6-pack and she's like, oh my God, I also brought a 6-pack. I guess oops. Like,
I guess we have
Right.
to drink all of it. Oh my god.
oh, you're so crazy.
Oh, man.
All right, I love that. Alice, we miss you. I hope that makes you happy. Real quick, I want to jump in the chat real quick. Cheryl said Charles will pick Obi-Wan. She already said that earlier. Great. Emma says she'd get a drink with Babu Frick. He get drunk real fast and he'd be a hilarious drunk.
Ha!
Cheryl would pick Han. Ooh, yes,
Han would be
absolutely.
good. Han
And
might be-
honestly, any age. Let's be real.
That's right.
Joxy says Poe would be a good drinking buddy. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. And John Dutch says episode 2 Obi-Wan would be getting party drunk. Episode 4 Obi-Wan, getting sad alone drunk.
Oh, God.
Aw.
Yeah.
We had a discussion, I think, on Force Toast not too long ago about Poe for whatever reason and what his cocktail would be. And we decided that Poe, in his capacity as like a resistance spy, is having whatever you're having. And so
Oh,
any
yeah.
situation that he's in, he's
Oh,
rolling up to the
yeah.
bar.
I like
If
that.
somebody's having a beer, he's having beer. If they're having an upright martini, he's on board for that too.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh, hey, Poe, you tried absinthe? You are now. Lord Romo in the chat also wants to throw out Anakin Clone Wars era.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
that's a great
Yeah.
choice too. Long
Absolutely
hair,
that.
long hair,
All right.
badass Anakin.
Yeah. Corey, who are you taking? What are you doing?
So, my initial thought, in kind of in the same vein as Luceno, was to pick Tarkin, actually, specifically. But then
Ooh,
I
yeah.
remembered that Tarkin is one of the only characters in all of Star Wars that actually says he doesn't drink. He's a teetotaler because he doesn't
That's
want it. He
right.
doesn't want it to like affect his cognition and stuff. Like there's that whole scene in I think is it Leia, Princess of Alderaan?
Leia, Princess of Alderaan, when he shows up. Yeah, I
he
think
shows
you're
up to
right.
the Alderaan to the Organa household, and like they're trying to get rid of him because they're having like a rebellion meeting, and like they all pretend to be Leia's mom. What's her name again?
Freya.
Brea.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Brea.
Leia's mom.
Yes.
Throw some
Brea-
respect on that name.
Sound
oh,
like
you mean
me.
the Queen of Alderaan? Is that
Yes.
you're talking about, Corey?
You mean Her Royal Highness?
Her
Brea?
Royal Highness Brea Organa. She pretends to get really
she doesn't
drunk.
have organs anymore because she climbed a mountain.
Yeah, I know they took her heart.
That's
out,
weird
right?
that her name is Organa.
It is.
She doesn't have
For-
any. They're
More
all
like
Ghana.
Organa.
Get out.
Show
Oh,
some
man.
respect.
All right, we're off the rails now.
So it's not Tarkin, you're
So
saying?
yeah, it can't be Tarkin because he doesn't drink. I would love to pick his brain. Like Tarkin, he's just an interesting character. I would
Maybe
love
if
to
he had
pick
lived
him.
past the age of however old he was in the Death Star, he would have gotten older in retirement. He would have like become a connoisseur of sorts.
That's right. Okay, so if I can't pick Tarkin because he doesn't
Right.
drink, I think I would, no joke, pick Palpatine. Like pre-Emperor.
Why would you get a
Palpatine.
drink with yourself?
What can I say? I like drinking alone.
It's 2020. Deal with
No
it.
judgment. It's quarantine times, man.
right.
These are desperate times.
That's right. But no, like pre-Emperor Palpatine, like to be in his inner circle, like Masamita knew what was up, right? Like that's been well documented. Like he knew that this was, a Sith Lord and all this kind of crap. Like, what it would be so interesting to just hear him talk about how it's all coming together exactly as planned all the time. Like, I would love it.
Now I just got this image of Masameda coming in at the end of the day with mojitos, being like, "Sir," it's just like every
Mojitos?
day.
I don't know
what that game would.
I don't know what it would be. Like he probably drank something like super obscure, like 30-year-old scotch or bourbon or something really refined that you can't get because it was at the bottom of the ocean for 100 years and nobody's tasted it. So something crazy like that. I don't really know what that would be.
Yeah, no, I think Palpatine definitely gets extinct vintages from planets sent to him, and then he just takes it and pours it in the sink to feel powerful.
Exactly.
He's like,
exactly.
"Yeah, screw you. I don't
Exactly.
need you."
God.
Like,
That man
that's
is
evil.
even more evil than I had ever considered. That's
Yes.
awful. How dare you waste alcohol, sir?
Absolutely. All right, I want to highlight a couple more in the chat here. Cheryl wanted you to pick Cornhorn, Corey, but
Oh my
alas.
God.
And then Lauren Romo says honorable mention to Beckett from Solo.
yeah.
That he'd be great.
Good
He'd
job.
be a lot of fun. I think he has some good stories.
He's another one
Um,
that's like just taking whiskey shots with me and Delilah Dawson at the
That's
bar.
right. Absolutely.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Now I am also going to be utterly predictable. Cheryl already nailed it in the chat. Everyone, I would arrive at dusk, I believe.
Oh my
A very temperate
Upon
day.
a white horse.
I would look my finest, and I would meet my good friend and oddly my Lord and Savior Bail Organa at his home.
Yes,
and
paint
we
the
would
picture.
We would stroll around the grounds and just chat for a while, and then he'd be like, "Oh, hold on a moment," and then he'd go back in and he'd say, "Oh, we just had this. I've been saving for a special occasion. It's his own vintage of red wine that he makes himself." And we would try it, and it'd be a lovely sip, be like a tasting, and it'd be a lovely night, talking a little about politics, but then a bit about how he feels as a new dad. And I'd be like, "Yo, man, like that's tough, but it sounds like you're doing great. She seems like a great kid." And then we just share little stories, and he'd be like, when I was younger in the Senate, I'm like, "Oh, before the Empire," and he goes, "Oh, shush, 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 we can't say anything mean." And as he got drunker, he'd talk more shit about Palpatine, but I wouldn't say anything because I'm cool. That's where the night's going. So that's my answer. Bail Organa with his own red wine.
Oh my gosh. John Dutch Vander in the chat says Bail Organa drinks cognac.
Ooh,
Cognac?
he might. Cognac?
Yes.
You drink cognac?
Cognac.
Yes, cognac.
That's what I meant.
Oh, I totally buy. Oh my gosh! And Cheryl says, "I feel like Lando would swindle me somehow, but yeah, Lando would also be a phenomenal drinking buddy. I feel."
Yeah, as long as he's not trying to get anything out of you. I think
Lando,
if
I'm
you-
about to say he might rob you or something.
yeah, if he's got an
Yeah.
angle, he's gonna rob you and leave you for dead.
That's right.
Yeah, just make sure that you don't start a tab and then he goes to the bathroom.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is. You are done. Your identity is stolen, and you're picking up the tab.
Yeah, he's a charmer though. He'll win you over, and you'll be a sucker for it, no matter how streetwise you think you are.
That's right.
Absolutely, but oh my gosh, there are infinite characters though to go further in that game. Charles, great idea. I love all of those answers and all those in the chat. We're fantastic. And next time, everyone, that you're drinking alone inside because it's quarantine, you're not drinking alone. You're drinking with your favorite Star Wars character. Okay, just so you know. And I said that out loud, so you can say it. All right.
And so you can send us all a tweet and let us know who you're drinking with and what you're drinking because we want to hear it.
Absolutely. Make sure you tag Force Toast, tag Living Force Pod. Show us pictures. If you want to Photoshop Bail Organa in it, that is up to you. That's totally fine. But before we get out of here, Laura, first of all, God, it's been too long since we've had you on the show. This was so much fun. Thank you for taking a Monday night to come hang out with us. It's just been a blast. We love hanging out with you. So thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. This has been a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. So last thing we want to say, I want to throw a question your way. We throw this to a lot of authors we talk about, but you and Alice are enmeshed in Star Wars just as much as anyone is. And we're in a transition period. I feel like the last few years of Star Wars have been explosive between the amount of original content that's come out, whether it be fan made, whether it be professionally made. What do you think when we look back on this in 5, 10, 15 years? How are we remembering this era of Star Wars right now?
That's hard to say. I think that one of those things with the sequel trilogy is going to be like the prequel trilogy was, where there was a little bit of animosity, and by a little bit, I mean a lot of animosity when it first came out. And I think that it's going to be one of those things that improves with age. Oh, yeah. And I think not even just for like people like me who really enjoyed episode 7 and episode 8, and then maybe didn't like episode 9 quite as much. I think there's going to be one of those things where it's going to age. We're all going to kind of maybe come around a little bit. You rewatch it, you catch new things, you learn new lessons. And you kind of pinpoint the things that you really do like about it, because there is things to love in every Star Wars movie. And I think it's going to age better than, and probably faster even than the prequels did. I think it took a lot longer for the prequels for people to come around to the prequels. Mm-hmm. And I think the sequel trilogy will be the same, but I think it's going to be a faster process.
I love that idea. I mean, we've said it once, we've said it 1,000 times. Star Wars, like you said, does get better with age, and we're all wanting to love everything that comes out. That is the goal at the beginning. So the quicker we can get there, the better. And I truly hope we do. And I have no doubt we shall. So Laura, before I give our regular intro, can you tell us what's coming up next for Force Toast? What's coming up next for the Jedi Way? Where can we find you guys? Blah, 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 all that good stuff.
Sure. Force Toast, we are hoping to launch a merch store before the end of the year, so stay tuned for that if you're already a fan. That's in process, I promise. But Force Toast are, we love the books, so we're Alice and I are big readers, and so we promise to stay up to date on that kind of stuff. We're very much looking forward to The Mandalorian, and I think in the next coming weeks we might start a sort of Mandalorian recap. Just to kind of refresh people. If you don't have 8 hours to sit down and rewatch the whole series again, we'll maybe condense that a little bit for you. So stay tuned to the Force Toast feed for that. With the Jedi Way, we tend to take a step back from some of the more intricate details from the reading, and we tend to take a little bit more of a bigger picture view of Star Wars. So we're talking a lot about philosophy and things like that in the Star Wars universe, in real world examples and, things that we took away from as fans. So definitely check out the Jedi Way. That's on John Roca's YouTube channel. And I think that pretty much covers it. When it comes to Schmoedown, there's probably not a lot in the cards for the rest of the year for Star Wars. But when it comes to, the singles tournament and the teams tournament, all of that's going on. So if you have any interest in the Schmoedown and anything I talked about sounded interesting to you, I definitely encourage you to catch it up and catch up with that. There's a lot to catch up on.
God, absolutely. Well, there's going to be more content than we can ever want, but we're going to catch up with it as much as we can. Again, thank you so much for coming on the show. We love to have you here. You're welcome back anytime. And everyone, seriously, put that Force Toast in your ears. Get your week better. And my friends, on that note, that is going to do it for this week's episode of The Living Force.